In order to live an extraordinary and abundant life, you must focus on your internal battle and win within. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the Rich Mind Podcast. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Rich Mind Podcast. And today we're diving into another one of the success principles from Napoleon Hill. As I've mentioned in the previous episodes, we're diving into Napoleon Hill's work, Think and Grow Rich. He, inside of that book, had 13 success principles that are super powerful. As I've mentioned before, if you don't have a copy of Think and Grow Rich, you need to do that. First off, go get a copy. Doesn't matter if it's a hard copy, audio file, whatever. Doesn't matter. You can probably even find a free version of it on YouTube. I know a lot of times people will record audiobooks and you can just listen directly from YouTube or something like that. So figure out a way to get your hands on a copy of Think and Grow Rich. But as I mentioned, he had 13 success principles. And I pulled out 6 that were the most impactful and have been the most impactful for me moving forward. So that's what this little mini series is about. I want to create and give you 6 of those success principles and have you start thinking about them as we are wrapping up the year 2024 and getting ready to move into 2025. It could be a great year. It's going to be a great year for me and for my family. I'm confident of that because of all the work that I've done. And I'm assuming that you are in that same boat, meaning you're working on yourself every single day. You're trying to get better at your own skills. You're trying to determine what triggers and what's keeping you from moving forward. And when you discover those things, you can continue to move down this path towards a success that you want, towards a dream life that you're looking for. One thing that, this kind of gets off a little bit on a side tangent, but one thing that I've discovered as well is when you get in the comparison game, when you start to compare your dreams and your vision with other people's dreams and vision, that will quickly derail you from you moving forward, because when you're comparing your success or your achievements or your dreams with others, and they might not feel like they stack up in any way, whether it's a monetary amount or if you feel like they have more than you do or something like that, you can easily start to shut yourself down, thinking that you're not enough, that you can't, that you shouldn't. And I want to encourage you, this isn't one of the success principles. This is an extra credit, but I want to encourage you to not allow that comparison game to get and derail you from moving forward into this bigger vision that you have for yourself in 2025 and beyond. But today, let's get into that success principle. It's definiteness of purpose. And so when I discovered that for the first time in Think and Grow Rich, I had to really think about, what does that really mean? And so as I've discovered, so this is my own interpretation of it, you might hear different things from other folks, but it's the idea is, now that you've discovered what your burning desire is, you've discovered what it is that you really want to move towards, what you really want to do, what you want to become, what skills you want to acquire. Now you need to start implementing the ideas of definiteness of purpose to start building out the goals, start building out the vision, start building out the roadmap of how you're going to achieve that purpose, that burning desire. So one thing that, unfortunately for myself growing up, goals was not something that really was part of my reality. I never was really taught the importance of goals. So there are many different ways to come up with goals. Different people have different ideas, and I'm not here today to share with you what some of those ideas are. I will say that last year at this time, so if you go back in the archives of the Rich Mind podcast, I had a 2-part series of a way to achieve any goal that you set for yourself. And I would highly recommend that you go back and check those out. That's been my way of achieving that. But as I mentioned, there are many different ways to set goals. Once again, that's not what I'm here today to do. I want to make sure that I just want to encourage you to understand that you need to have a vision for this ideal life that you want moving forward. In the previous episode, we talked about my wife's vision of this wedding venue that she has for herself. And I also mentioned in that episode that she knows down to the colors, to the lights, to the fixtures, to the landscaping, to everything. She has it all mapped out in her mind, what she's looking for. And the beauty of having that vision in mind, number one, is it gives her a direction of where she's headed. but then it also allows her to see different opportunities when they arise. Meaning that if she didn't necessarily know what she was looking for, if she was just kind of wandering through, just, not necessarily taking action, just basically, like I said, fumbling through life, not necessarily having a purpose, a definiteness of purpose, she would not see opportunities as they are being presented to her. She right now is finding different opportunities are coming to her almost like magic, right? It's not magic. The idea is that though she has a vision, she knows exactly what she's looking for. She's working within her burning desire. She knows exactly what she wants and she knows exactly what it's going to look like. And with that, she's able to continue to take steps. She's able to continue to implement the process and of the persistence to keep moving forward, even when it gets difficult. So even talking about myself with the Rich Mind podcast, even though when I first got started, I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to take it. But what I will tell you is that I had an idea. I had an idea of mixing the concepts of financial education and personal development. And those two topics together could help folks create a rich mind. To me, the idea of becoming rich starts from within. You need to work and win within so that way you can win without, meaning your interior environment, right? What's going on within will reflect back out to you in your exterior environment. That's where the concept of the Rich Mind came from and the Rich Mind podcast. So with that, I started to take steps. I started to get this desire of my wanting to create and produce content, which has allowed me then to discover, figure out which softwares to use, what cameras to use, the confidence to get on camera like I am here today and just hit record and start talking, start sharing a message that is resonating with me, that I hope will resonate with you as well, and not worry about the comparison game. I mentioned that here at the beginning of this episode, not worrying about that I'm not stacking up against the big names out there in the world. That is not it's not that doesn't matter, because obviously you want to aspire to move and be greater, right? I use them as more of a tools to help me discover. Okay, I see how I want to get better at my podcast. For example, there's a little tool that I want to get to help me record even better. That I found it on somebody. So I'm a big consumer of other people's podcasts and other people's videos, right? And so I'm watching all the time. How are they doing it? What are they doing? What makes them good? What makes them interactive? What helps engage the audience? And I'm always trying to pick up clues that I see that they're doing. And if I can find those clues, then I want to try to practice and implement those here on the Rich Mind podcast. And so just recently I saw something and I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I had never seen it before. But if I didn't have that vision of that definiteness of purpose for myself to continuously get better at the Rich Mind podcast, I would not have seen that as an opportunity to then invest a little bit of money to get this little tool that once I put it into place, put it into action, I'm hoping it's going to increase the value that I'm adding to you, the listener, or even the follower. If you're watching me on video, that's where you're probably going to see this a little bit more. But the idea is that if I didn't have that vision, if I didn't have that goal to become better, to keep growing the Rich Mind podcast, I would not have seen that opportunity, nor would I have been able to take action. So back to my wife's story, there's been opportunities have come into her awareness that if she didn't know exactly what she was looking for, if she wasn't looking for that perfect opportunity that's going to fit into this vision of what she's looking for, number one, she wouldn't have been in the right mindset to be able to take the action to keep moving into these opportunities. But then she wouldn't even have seen it, right? It just almost would have blown right by her. It would have been a blind spot. I've said in the podcast before, opportunities are everywhere if you know what you're looking for. So if you're looking for different ways to create content, I can help you with that. If you're or other folks, right? It doesn't have to be me. The point is that there are opportunities everywhere if you get your definiteness of purpose. If you have your burning desire and you start taking the steps through persistence, through the discipline, through the tough parts, right, to get to this outcome. When the fun part is, and it's been this way for myself, and I'm kind of putting words in my wife's mouth here, so hopefully she'll agree with this when she listens to this in the future. But the fun part is that when you have this idea and you have this vision, and an opportunity or an idea comes to mind, and it's like you get so excited because you know, or you're relatively certain, I would say 90 to 95% certain, because you still have to implement, that idea or that tool or that vision or that opportunity, when it comes, it's going to completely change the trajectory of your life, where you're headed, the outcome that you're about to receive. It starts to become exciting. You start to become a participant in your life, meaning it's more fun to be proactive versus reactive. And that's what I want to have for you moving forward. And that's where this whole little bit of a mini series that I wanted to create to have you in a different mindset as we approach the year 2025. Just get yourself ready to think about life differently. If you don't begin taking control of your mind and your mindset, start to expand it in different ways that you've never, things that you've heard in the past, but maybe you've never taken the time to try to understand them in the way that you can then implement them in your life. If you haven't done that, I would highly encourage you to start that process today. You hear me all the time talking about journaling. Even if you're not writing it down, sitting with yourself, just some time alone, think about your life. Think about this vision that you want for yourself, for your family. When you get this burning desire, when you get this definiteness of purpose, when you get that in your life, things will start to show up. Opportunities will start to show up. You'll start to get ideas. So one thing that, this is just a quick example that just came to my mind right now, is that, so when I first started on my journey, I would have an idea of what I wanted to accomplish. And so creating content, getting out into the world, sharing my message was one of the first things that I wanted to do when I first started this process. In the first episode, we talked about my original YouTube channel. But when I did that, one of the first people that came to my mind back in the day that came into my awareness was somebody I wanted to learn from was a person, Brendan Bouchard. So you might be familiar with Brendan. And if you're not, I would highly encourage you to go search for Brendan. But Brendan's been around for a long time. I learned and discovered and learned from him very early on, and when he was just beginning his process of teaching and coaching. But the point is that had I not had that vision for myself, when the opportunity came for me to get in and engage with him through his books, through his online programs, I would not have been in the right mindset to even receive that. But it was because of the definiteness of purpose, because of the burning desire to get better, to get and do what I'm doing today. I would not have seen that as an opportunity. I probably just would have passed it by, and who knows where I would be today had I not had that. But that also then goes back into that persistence as well. So that's what you're going to see in these episodes, this little mini series. These all weave together. They're all very important standalone principles, but at the same time, they all weave together. And I'm hoping I'm able to share them in a way with these stories of my own personal life. Hopefully it's helped resonating with you as well. You can start thinking about some of these things in your own life and how you can implement them moving forward, which is super exciting. I just encourage you to get in the driver's seat of life. And if you do that consistently, persistently, you're going to achieve greater things than you ever thought possible. So I think we're going to wrap this one up here today. So go out there, focus on being great. This has been fun. This has been fun for me. I love going through, having these ideas. This little mini series was an idea that just came to me even just a few days ago, and I started to jot ideas down. I started to investigate how I would implement some of these, or how I have implemented some of these in my own life, thinking about the different stories, thinking about what I wanted to share with you today. And so it's fun. It's fun to bring them to life and share it with you. So if you are finding value so far in the message, if you wouldn't mind helping me spread the message of the Rich Mind podcast, I would greatly appreciate that. You can like and subscribe to the channel. I'm on all the podcast platforms. You can also find me on YouTube you can search for @Randy Wilson. You can also search for @Your Focused Vision. I'm not active on that channel, but you can go check out what I used to look like 12 years ago-ish. But anyways, @Randy Wilson. You'll find me on YouTube as well, but I'm also on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, you name it. I'm out there. So go out there and help me spread the message. I would greatly appreciate that. If you would even leave me a review, an honest review, I'd greatly appreciate that as well. If you're finding value in the message, that would help me, encourage me to keep moving forward. As I mentioned, I'm not stopping, but at the same time, it'd be nice to hear some feedback from you as well. So go out there, focus on being great. I look forward to coming back with the next principle again very soon. Until then, bye now. Thank you for joining me on the Rich Mind podcast. And remember, your external world is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So focus every day on that internal battle and win within. Until next time, my friends.